Hey everyone, it's Fun Around. My name is Jordan. Welcome to Tuesday's 9-game slate. I'm going to do a quick rundown through the games, and my plays will be in the pinned comment. And let's make this quick, easy, and informative. So you will see images that come up on the screen right here. That'll be from a data app called Outlier. There'll be a link in the description with a 7-day free trial for Outlier. And I know people have been loving these videos. A lot of people I see are cashing based off of them. So this first game is going to be the Raptors at the Magic. Magic are 7-point favorites. Raptors will not have Abaji or Grady Dick. The Magic will be without Jalen Suggs for the rest of the season. This is a rematch of a game on Sunday. The Raptors are 2-4 since the All-Star break and 3-3 against the spread. The Magic are also 2-4 and 3-3 against the spread. Raptors giving up the 16th most points to teams, and the Magic are giving up the second least. So I say that just so you can kind of get a grip on how the game should go. So a guy with the best matchup that I like in this is Paolo Banchero. The Raptors give up the 5th most points to the power forward position. He had 23 points against them on just 9 field goal attempts. He ended up with 15 free throws, so they just could not stop him. And then on the other side of things, with Grady Dick out, I would probably look at like RJ Barrett. The matchup isn't great for all these guys, but like RJ Barrett's going to have a lot of volume. Scotty Barnes is going to have a lot of volume. Just the matchup's going to be tough. And this next game is going to be the Bucks at the Hawks. The Hawks will be on a back-to-back. The Bucks are 5.5-point favorites. Giannis is probable, and Kyle Kuzma is likely to not play in this one. And the Hawks have no new updates for their injury report. They had George Niang out with an illness. On Monday, we'll see if that continues. The Bucks out of the break are 5-1 and 4-1-1 against the spread, while the Hawks are 2-4 out of the break and 2-4 against the spread. And also on back-to-backs, they're 3-2 and 4-1 against the spread. So back-to-backs don't hurt them too much as of late, and that's for the last 5 games. Hawks give up the 4th most points, and the Bucks give up the 14th most points. So we have a decent scoring matchup here. Favorite matchup is going to be Giannis. The Hawks give up the most points to the power forward position. The last 4 games against the Hawks, he had 32 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists, and then he had 36, 16, and 8, 31, 11, and 5, and 32, 14, and 9. So his rebounds line is probably going to be extremely high. We'll see what the assist comes out at and the points come out at, but great matchup overall for him, and definitely for points. And then for the Hawks side of things, the Bucks give up a lot of rebounds to different positions, and we'll just see where lines come out at for Hawks guys. Then this next game is the Warriors, who will be on a back-to-back at the Knicks. The Knicks are 4-point favorites. We'll see for the Warriors if anyone sits. They put out a note that Curry is hopeful to play in this one on a back-to-back. The Knicks, Karl Anthony Towns is questionable for personal reasons. That would be huge for rebounds. For guys like Mitchell Robinson would be a sleeper. Obviously Josh Hart. The Warriors 5-1 out of the break and 5-1 against the spread. The Knicks are 4-2 and then 1-5 against the spread. The book's been favoring them just a little too much. Warriors 19th most points allowed, and the Knicks the 15th most points allowed. So we kind of have like a mid-tier scoring game here. Best matchup that I see is going to be Steph Curry against the Knicks. They give up the 2nd most points to the point guard position. He did have 27 and 31 in 2 different games against them last year. And then for the Knicks side of things, a guy I like is OG Anunoby from the power forward position. The Warriors give up the 4th most points to the power forward position. He's at 23, 19, and 16 in the last 3 games. And we'll just have to keep an eye out for that Karl Anthony Towns news because the Warriors give up the 6th most rebounds to the center position. That could be Mitchell Robinson stepping into that spot to get a bunch of rebounds. So if you guys could please like the video, and if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. If you have a little bit of extra time, could you just leave the number 1. That helps get this video out there for more people to see. And also, if you want to get away from Prizepicks and you want to try out other apps with dynamic payouts, more options, check out Underdog Fantasy, ParlayPlay, ChalkBoard, and BETR. Underdog's matching your first deposit up to $1,000. The rest are doing up to $100, and bettors matching your first bet up to $250. Promo code is fine around 11. Next up, an interesting one. The Rockets will be on a back-to-back at the Pacers. Pacers are 4-point favorites. The Rockets just played without Dylan Brooks, Tari Eason, Alfred Sengun, Amen Thompson, and Fred VanVleet. They all sat out. VanVleet looked like the one that actually had like a real injury, and the rest of the guys were just soreness. The Pacers will be without Ben Mathurin. Looks like he's doubtful. So if all these guys come back for this second game on a back-to-back, it will be as if, you know, they didn't play back-to-back, because a lot of these guys are the starting lineup for the Rockets. So the Rockets are 3-3 out of the break, and then 3-2-1 against the spread. Pacers are 4-2 out of the break and 4-2 against the spread. And then the Rockets on back-to-backs, they're 2-3 in the last 5, and then 1-4 against the spread. Haven't been too great on back-to-backs. Rockets giving up the 10th least points, and then the Pacers the 13th most points. The Rockets have really struggled against giving up points to the guard position, a point guard and shooting guard, but I don't really trust Halliburton or Nembhard. They're just those guys. They're on everybody's ban list pretty much. I like Halliburton for assist every once in a while, but this isn't a good matchup for assist. So a sleeper that I know is going to play, he wasn't injured in this first game, is Jabari Smith Jr. The Pacers are giving up the second most rebounds to the power forward position. Since he returned from injury, he's had 8, 7, 10, 8, 2, and 9 rebounds. So just one bad rebounding game there. We'll see where his line drops out at. Fifth game is the 76ers on a back-to-back versus the Timberwolves. Timberwolves are 12-point favorites. This one, I'm putting high blowout potential on it. So the Sixers had Paul George out. Should be questionable for Tuesday. Kelly Oubre was out with an illness. That could continue. We'll see. Tyrese Maxey left the game with an injury. We'll see if he's able to play. And then for the Timberwolves, Rudy Gobert remains out, and Julius Randle is questionable, but he did play the last game. So 76ers are 1-5 since the break and 2-4 against the spread on back-to-backs. They're 2-3 in the last 5, and then 2-3 against the spread. Timberwolves since the break are 2-4 and 3-3 against the spread. 76ers giving up the 9th most points, and the Timberwolves the 6th least allowed points. If all these guys are out, high blowout potential, definitely. A sleeper for this one, you already know Anthony Edwards is going to put up a ton of shots. His line is going to be extremely high, but a sleeper is going to be Dante DiVincenzo. The Sixers are giving up the most points to the point guard position. ESPN depth chart has him as a starter, but he did not start the last game, but he did play the most minutes at the position. So on Sunday, he scored 24 points, and he shot 8 of 13 from the three-point line. Obviously, that's not going to happen again, but we'll check and see where his lines drop out at. This is going to be a very good matchup for him. If he stays in the second unit, maybe he gets some extra minutes in a blowout. But the caution is always there. Both of the high blowout potential games from the last video were blowouts. And speaking of high blowout potentials, this next game is the Cavaliers at the Bulls. Cavaliers are 12-point favorites. Once again, high blowout potential. Cavs, Evan Mobley is going to be out for rest. The Bulls, they still will not have Nikola Vucevic at the center position. Lonzo Ball, Josh Giddey, Kevin Huerter are all questionable. And Kobe White is likely to play. So there could be a lot of guards sitting out in this one, and they're already missing their starting center. The Cavaliers are 6-0 out of the break, and then 5-1 against the spread. The Bulls are 2-4 out of the break, and 5-1 against the spreads. So the Bulls have been overachieving a little bit, but that has to do with guys like Josh Giddey, Zach Collins playing great as a backup center and all that. Cavaliers are giving up the 17th most points, and the Bulls are giving up the 6th most points. So a decent scoring matchup here. It's just Cavaliers have so much more depth. So the lines are actually out for this one. I went over to Jared Allen, and he immediately went from like 12.5 points to 14.5 points. So his lines have already been jacked up. Cavaliers do not have another like true center on the roster. So guys like DeAndre Hunter could slide into the power forward position. Dean Wade will slide into the power forward position. Those are guys to look out for. And then obviously Ty Jerome off the bench will get some extra minutes in the rotation. But I did like Donovan Mitchell's history here against the Bulls. So this season he's had 36 and 37 against them. One of those was a blowout. And he had 7 3-pointers made in each of the games. So if you are afraid of the blowout, the first quarter prop is at 6.5, and he scored 14 and 11 in both of those games against the Bulls. And I have a feeling since he just rested the last game, he's going to want to get off to a hot start here. Next game is going to be the Nets at the Spurs. Stephon Castle is questionable. The Nets are 1-5 out of the break and 3-3 against the spread. The Spurs are 2-5 out of the break and 2-5 against the spread. Nets giving up the 4th least points, and the Spurs the 7th most points allowed. So we'll take a look at some Nets players with good matchups. Nick Claxton, the Spurs give up the most points to the center position and the 11th most rebounds. And then Cameron Johnson at the power forward position. They give up the 2nd most points to the power forward position, the most rebounds to the power forward position, and the 6th most assists. And for the Spurs, since the Nets are giving up the 4th least points overall, there's just not a good matchup against this team. And before I get into these last couple of games, I want to give a special shout out to Sleeper. If you have not heard of them or signed up with them, they have one of the best interfaces out of all the apps, in my opinion. They have dynamic payouts, alt lines, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100 if you use promo code FINAROUND11. There's a link in the description, and I'll put a link in the pinned comment for Sleeper. This 8th game is the Clippers at the Suns. Clippers are 2-point favorites. Clippers will be without Derek Jones, Norman Powell, and Ben Simmons all out. And I've noticed Ben Simmons has been racking up a lot of assists, and that has kind of hurt James Harden's assist. So this could help James Harden with his assists. He's going to be the main facilitator. The Suns, Bradley Beal is questionable. So the Clippers out of the break are 1-5 and then 0-6 against the spread. The Suns are 2-5 and 2-5 against the spread. The Clippers giving up the 5th least points, and the Suns the 8th most points allowed. So we'll take a look at some Clippers because they should have some good matchups. James Harden, the 3rd most points allowed to the point guard position, 6th most rebounds, and the 7th most assists allowed. And then Zubac at the center position, the Suns give up the 7th most points and the 3rd most rebounds. And then moving on to this last game, the Pelicans will be at the Lakers. Lakers are 8-point favorites. Pelicans have no new big injuries, just the same guys who have been out for the year. The Lakers, they have Luka and Austin Reeves are questionable, and LeBron is probable, and then Rui Hachimura is going to be out. The Pelicans are 4-2 out of the break and 3-3 against the spread. Lakers are 6-1 out of the break and 5-2 against the spread. So the Pelicans are giving up the 2nd most points overall to teams, and then the Lakers are giving up the 3rd least points. So all tough matchups at every position for the Pelicans players. The Lakers, their defense just has improved ever since that trade. Just a scheme thing, I guess. And then we'll need some injury clarification, but Austin Reeves, LeBron, and Jackson Hayes all have good matchups for scoring. So if you'd like to discuss lines further, I have a Discord. Link is in the description. You can hop on in there and talk about lines all day long. That is a free Discord. And then as far as a recap goes, for the last video, for the pinned comment ones, I had Denny Avdia for 3.5 assists. That was the regular prop. That hit. And then I had him for 4.5 as a ladder for plus 155. That missed. They actually did a stat correction and took one away. I was very sad about that because the plus 155 was going to be nice. I did the same thing with Trae Young. His regular prop was 10.5. I took that. And then for plus 120, I took 11.5, and that hit. He finished with 15 assists. I should have kept laddering up a little bit more. And then Rashawn Holmes of the Wizards, I had his points plus assists at 9.5. He hooked at 9. He missed a free throw right there at the end. I did a DraftKings alt spread parlay. So I took my 2 high blowout potential plays, and then I alt spread them. to where I gave them a little bit more wiggle room just in case it wasn't a blowout. That was for plus 100 and that hit. And then I did my Prizepicks Goblin double up, which is 4 goblins for 2x. Actually, the past 2 ones were 2.2x, and the past 2 hit. This one missed right at the end. Of course, it was the last leg. Keon Ellis had like the worst game of his career, and that one missed. So those are 2 and 1. I'll continue to do them because they do seem to do pretty well. So that's another breakdown. I'm gonna get this edited and get it out to you. God bless you all. It's Final Round. My name is Jordan. I will catch you on the next one. Bye.